Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee, where in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Felicity Jones talking about the possible return of Jyn Erso in the Star Wars universe. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee. Greetings, Exalted Ones. Greetings to all you Jedi, Padawans, and younglings out there. This is Star Wars Coffee, covering everything you need to know about the latest developments, news, and leaks in Star Wars, and as always, giving you my analysis. Channel memberships are now live, so be sure to check that out on the channel page. Special shout out to the current members, Neon Victor, BSimms, and Daniel Davis. We all remember Rogue One, that fantastic Star Wars film that finally filled us in on how the Rebels obtained the Death Star plans? Yeah, well, it turns out that we might have all misunderstood the ending to that movie, according to Felicity Jones. You remember Felicity Jones. She played Jyn Erso. Jyn Erso, the character who put behind a checkered past by lending her skills to a greater cause. Jyn Erso is impetuous, defiant, and eager to bring the battle to the Empire. Used to operating alone, she found herself taking place with a higher purpose by taking on a desperate mission for the Rebel Alliance. Well, we all remember Felicity Jones, and with the fact that Rogue One's ending left us all under the impression that all of the major characters we loved died. Well, maybe we all misunderstood that, according to Felicity Jones. She recently sat down with the Hollywood Reporter and was asked about a possible return to Star Wars. Now, let me preface this by saying that since this film came out, Felicity Jones, by the time Rogue One was even just in production, we were aware of the fact that Felicity Jones had signed a 2-movie deal, and they keep extending the second movie option in her contract. So she's only fulfilled one of them at this point. So this really does legitimately bring back the option and possibility of her to return. So she was asked the following questions about Star Wars. She says the following. This was the question she was asked first. The fate of your character, Jyn Erso, is unclear at the end of Rogue One. Have there been any talks about a sequel? Keyword here, sequel, not a prequel, because we're all under the impression that she died. However, she seems to be back, in the sense that if it's a sequel, it means post. So, Felicity Jones responded the following. I just keep saying that reincarnation is totally possible in the Star Wars universe, so I feel there's unfinished business for Jyn Erso, for sure. And then the next question that was followed up was, I hear that Disney has an option for you to do a second film, that it keeps extending. How would you like to see Jyn Erso return? A sequel, a spin-off, or something else? And Felicity Jones' response is interesting as well. It says the following. I think it would be fascinating to see her getting older and wiser and fighting the dark forces in the universe, of which there are many, it seems. So this is all extremely interesting and extremely telling to the fact that it appears Felicity Jones does not feel like Jyn Erso's fate has been sealed based on what we saw in Rogue One. We were all under the impression that all of our major characters, Cassian, Jyn Erso, they all died. Apparently this might not be the case, and the Cassian Andor show seems to have a lack of enthusiasm, specifically for the fact that we all know how his story is going to end. We all also know how Obi-Wan Kenobi's story is going to end, but that doesn't stop us from being excited about the Kenobi spinoff with Ewan McGregor. However, Rogue One is a different entity altogether, given the fact that it's part of the anthology. It just seems extremely interesting that the questions that Felicity Jones is asked is specifically about a sequel, and that she answers how she would like to see Jyn return with a sequel. So whether or not she's actually teasing something like Ewan McGregor did for the last 5 or 6 years before it was officially announced that he was coming back to reprise Obi-Wan, could Felicity Jones be at the start of doing this as well? I mean, it's extremely interesting. The character of the Hollywood Reporter asked, have you thought about a sequel? Have there been any talks about a sequel? And in the quote, since it's a written interview, she says, I just keep saying that reincarnation is totally possible in Star Wars universe. And then they make a note there that she laughed while saying that. That's what Ewan McGregor would do when he was giving his tell that he has had those talks. And the fact that the question is, have there been any talks? And then Disney has an option to keep extending the contract, which they do keep extending, is very interesting. It's a clear sign that Disney is very
prevalent the fact that they're not done with this character yet, that they're not done with Jyn Erso yet. Otherwise, if they were done with the character, they wouldn't keep extending the option for her to reappear. And we know she's not going to reappear in the Cassian film, given the fact that the Cassian film is a prequel to Rogue One, which puts the kibosh on her returning in that series. So it would have to be in some type of sequel or a Jyn Erso prequel about how she got captured before Rogue One and how K2SO rescued her. We would have to be finding out what she did to get captured, which seems to be a pretty lame story considering that would just be a prequel to the inevitable of what we all perceive to be her death in the end of Rogue One. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. May God bless you and the Force be with you always. If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe.
Do it!
And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.